Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Unscripted and Unchoreographed by Confession Box Collective. I am your host, Neve, and I am so excited to have back the one and only Daniela, who is here to talk about not one, but two new shows that is going to be in the Seen and Heard Festival 20 Dublin. And this is a really important year for Seen and Heard. It's the 10th anniversary, big birthday. So it's quite an achievement to have two shows coming from London via the wonderful Daniela. So we'll jump straight into it. We know you're a familiar face, and we know your practice as a dance movement actor, artist. So we are going to be talking about your two shows. Let's start with the first one because it's the first one that's going to be performed, Stations of Echoes, Fluid Tracks. When is it on? Where is it on? What was the inspiration? Who's in it?
Yay! So Station of Echoes Fluid Track is gonna be in the 12th and 13th of February in the Men's Spains in this amazing festival that Neve already mentioned. And this piece is like around 17-minute dance theater inspired through. If you don't know what is dance theater, Pina Bausch is one of like the inventors of kind of this type of art, and it's kind of like mixing between dance and theater, because at least for me and for a lot of people, I imagine movement sometimes express better than words. So that's what we're trying to look within this piece. And also, like last year, I was researching a lot through my master's, a practice that I created that it calls cells membrane system. And it's how we create art that is alive and it's not like just rehearsed and we are obviously repeating, but here we have opportunity for change, because within the piece we are rehearsing three individuals that are lost in a train station, in a way as everyone in the world are trying to find their way to home, to a dream, to someone that they love, or anything that we inspire in this life, and we are trying to get to an objective. We get lost in on the way, because that is life, you know? And sometimes because we are in a society that it tells you like 1+1 is 2 and this is the way to follow, when we get lost, we get overwhelmed and everything. So we are exploring this kind of emotions and sensations through dance, and a way of reflecting these three people that are lost in this station, trying to find their way to their home or wherever their main goal is. And for each performance, that is something private. And I think it's really interesting how that privacy starts to express through the movement, that uniquely they are investing in this train track. So we have this kind of piece, but within this piece, well, they start to connect with them between these three performances. They are allowing for improvisation to emerge. So in these two shows, even though it's gonna be the same shows, I'm sure it's gonna be very different in a sense, because the cell membrane, that is a system that you put movement material, we put choreography pieces and everything. The membrane of the system holds it, but we are allowed to play it. People that like the audiences are going to be part of it, because as every like theater is alive, you know? So I also want to be acknowledging that, not like the fourth wall. I want to acknowledge that, and that's why I started even in teaching or in creating and devising the cell membrane. I started to research through my master, and it was inspired by Umberto Maturana, that is a sociologist and biologist. So he mixed science and the human behavior, and he says like the cells in our bodies, they behave really in an ecosystem that is loving, that it's all the time sharing and it's all the time listening. Something that I have found that we have lost in society, but it's in our nature, it's in our cells. So that's how I started to go into the minuscule cells of our bodies to reconnect who we really are, and in a way of creating, teaching, and in this case finding the language for these three individuals in this endless track of a train.
I love it. I'm so excited. And how did you come up with the name? The name is so cool and paints such a picture. And we know it's partly based in a track, but where did you come up with the name?
Well, fluid tracks is because when I started to teach the cell membrane system and also use it as a devising tool, everything was related to that we are fluid identities. We are not something fixed. And why we're not fixed? Because space changes, relationship changes, and everything. So what the train? Because I think every human comes to this place and is always on an endless journey. And I don't think the journey is one direction. Like we say, I take a airplane from London to Dublin, right? We always are thinking like kind of like, okay, I go here and I arrive here, but we are thinking like, even though you have those kind of direct destinations, everything can change and intertwine and completely refine who you are in that exact moment. So I was thinking of that, like we are on this endless journey, and like we are all the time on the underground, on trains and everything. So it's like, and there are so many people, and every time you go into like into the station or everything, at least for me, how I experience when it's like really crowded, it completely changed my behavior. When it's like more peaceful and it's 9 o'clock and you went to have a drink with your friend and there are like only two people, it's totally like a different experience. So I thought that place to kind of investigate with the three performance, it was very interesting to find this kind of like fluid identity in an easy way instead of like something that we find like more fixed. Like for example, when you go to work on an office, even though it completely changes, like you wake up at 7 and everything. So I wanted to find something more like it's constantly changing, and you find every day like different people. And so yes, I was thinking of this endless journey of life and this fluid identity. So that's how I come with the name.
I love it. I love it. And it's so true. I don't know, especially for me as well on the underground, it's like you're crammed into this tiny space like tiny sardines and you're just like
Yeah.
keep your head down and just keep going. And the same on buses and yeah, it's so interesting.
And even when you cross people, like I see people in the underground and like I'm with this person in this moment, perhaps I'm never gonna see this person again. And it gives me adrenaline when I start to think like things like that. It's like I'm never gonna see this person again. And we are like just sitting, like even touching or bodies are touching. It's like I don't know.
It's so true. It's like when you're in an elevator with a stranger and you like nobody talks to each other. It drives me crazy. I'm like, and yeah, sometimes, you just don't want to talk, but it's like we're in a tiny, tiny space together. It is really interesting. And I think dance as well will be perfect for this topic and also that's what I wanted my next question. There's three performers in it, including yourself. So how is it choreographing, directing, and performing in it? How do you juggle and balance all this?
Yeah, so at first there was another dancer dancing my part, but she got an amazing opportunity in a Scottish opera, so she's not gonna be able. So that was great to first see it for outside, to see how was which things were working, which things were not working. So I had the opportunity to be just directing it and choreographing it, and we were working with gestures and certain types of like lines of choreography that I said, okay, play with that. What happened when you start to sing to each other or when you are far apart? So I could see that from outside. And now we started to talk about it, how we are going to introduce a new body because it's completely different. When I'm a completely different dancer of the was the other dancer, and she's amazing and she's brings another energy, another vibration into the space. So I think once we are going to meet each other, the three of us again. It's going to bring something new, and I'm very excited to experience it as a dancer. But yeah, always having that kind of other eye, like, okay, yeah, this is matching, this is not, what is connecting. But yeah, I have been more like movement directing and teaching and more into the choreography perspective or directing. So actually, I'm really excited to be a performer again.
You are the type of person, Daniela, who can do everything. I do it very, very well. Why did you want to make this piece now? And also, why do you think people should go see it?
I think we are in a moment that there's so much travel, inner and outside, and in a global sense. Even like now, watching, like when I was in Chile, I was in Chile like 2 weeks or 1 week ago. And even like in South America was happening things that were similar to here to the UK, like immigration, things like that, people trying to find safety. But what is safety if we are sharing, all of us, the same? So we were all having like a theme, a goal. Where should we go? Where do I want to go? I'm from here, I'm not from here. All of these questions that are so within our identity and the space that we are in. But all of these answers were like, we are in the middle, and I really need to find my place. Like, for example, what happened in Venezuela, there I was talking to people from Venezuela, like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to be at home, but now my home is Chile, so what is my home? But I'm excited. All of these questions, and they were all like very like attached to the ground, to something physical. But we, in the physical, all our minds and our bodies were in the travel, and we are trying to find answers. But I think the answers are in the connections, in the way that I'm feeling, in the way that I travel, or the people I met in this travel. And I think we are feeling a bit like on the hedge. I think the world right now is on the hedge. And because sometimes even traveling, like for example, when I came back to Chile, I had so much anxiety. I was like, I haven't been in 1 year and a half. Like, how is it gonna be? Are my friends the same? All of these questions, and you're going back home. So yeah, I think it's something that it will never stop to be something tangible and real, and because we will never stop traveling. Even even if you follow a dream, or even if you travel to a friend's house, there are so many things happening there, and sometimes we feel alone. So it's a way to say, like, how do we find ways of actually open up yourself, and all of these things that you're feeling are all right, are okay. Like, because we are alive and we are always changing, and allowing yourself to be fluid, because we are, like, our cells are dying, and new cells are reproducing by the minute, like by the second. We are always changing. So when you are like, wow, I'm always changing, and everyone we are traveling, and everyone we are finding and meeting each other, you feel like not less alone, and you are like, yeah, like you can be wherever you want to be. And also having empathy, I think, with everyone's journey, and not seeing everyone like, you're from here, you're from heart. No, we are always in this fluid track.
That is so true. And it's so interesting when you think about it. And actually, when you talk about it now, it kind of seems perfect for dance or movement. Kind of seems
Yeah,
like, you know,
it is, because traveling is all the time movement.
completely. And yeah, so why do you think people should come see it?
I think if you want to see something that you want to be also like, have a sense of like, you are also dancing with us, that you also sharing a journey, and you are trying to find answers by just relaxing, enjoying dance, enjoying surf movement, I think it's totally for you, this show. Also be able to embrace emotions, not in an intellectual way, but it's like, I'm breathing, I'm sensing with you and everything. So I really invite everyone to dance and move through this fluid track, and yeah, to feel also that we are sharing a space as an audience, as a performance, and we're not alone.
I love it. Thank you so much. And yes, that will be Station of Echoes Fluid Tracks on the 12th and 13th of February at 6 p.m. in the main space in Smock Alley Theatre, Dublin, as part of the Seen and Heard Festival 2026. And you can get your tickets, yes, on the Seen and Heard website. Now, moving on to your other show, which is also in Smock Alley in the main space at 6:30 p.m. as part of the Seen and Heard Festival, is a solo show on the 27th and 28th of February, which is just yourself, again, choreographing, directing, tearing through time. Yeah, tell us about the show, the inspiration.
So actually, this show has such a long history. So this idea came like in the pandemic in 2020, and I was in my last year of drama school in Chile, actually, and I was creating this piece that that it was in a alongside one of my favorite teachers, and he's a buto and dancer practitioner, and we have worked together, so I really admire him. His name is Álvaro Pizarro, and he was guiding me through this process, and it had the same name in Spanish. And in that exact moment in the pandemic, for me everything was changing. Like I was like, I felt really free. I was like ending my year of drama and everything got closed, sorry. And then everything, and I felt like small, everything felt small. And even, I even started to see it in my body, the changes. Like I was smaller, like I was thinner. I was like, everything started to change. And I was like, wow. And time started to, I started to perceive differently. And from there, all of the things that I was feeling and I was sharing sometimes through a phone call or like a FaceTime with friends and also with this teacher, I started to devise this piece. And I remember it was part of a dance festival, like a film dance festival that was called Bestias Danzantes, and it was part in South America. And it was me telling how my body was changing and suffering this kind of like, not in a bad way, because sometimes we think, oh, the pandemic is bad. But I was like, wow, like really, I can see it visually and I can sense it. So from there, I started to research through movement and through different, and also space and all of this stuff. Something that was very similar to my idea within the first show, like change. And from there, when I started to research for the cell membrane system, I said, oh my God, like all of my performance life, I could say, or when I started to study from the first year of drama school, everything was about change because I was raised, for example, in a Catholic school. I was, my family, we were like, all of us, like, be perfect, be good student and everything. So be feminine, be all of this stuff. So I always felt like, wow, I have always been like putting packages on myself. And when I entered to drama school or when I started to dance and everything, I thought like I could like open my purse and start to open up those packages. And I was like, wow, we have so much endless possibilities. So that's one thing. And this was in 2020. And then I started to revisit this idea that it was this kind of person that was started to change with nature. So for example, I remember near my house, we used to have like leaves and trees that were like all accumulating, and I started to dance through it. So I started to communicate with objects because there was no people around me, and I also started to change. And then when I came here to UK, another change happened. It's like, why am I coming here? And there was another package. I'm coming here because I have this dream that I wasn't really even sure what was the dream, because I want to become someone else. Like, you know, this kind of thought. And I was like, and then I was trying to fix, I was trying to write in a really British way. I was trying to teach in a really British way in the master, and it wasn't working. I was like, this is not working. But also, I couldn't teach how was I teaching in Chile, because the students were like, what is going on with her? She's a bit crazy. So I was like, wow, I cannot be this British person. I cannot be Chilean. And then I everything started to kind of this, so how can I actually become this someone else? So in that travel and in this kind of what happened in the pandemic, another change was happening. So I was like, so I started to explore this within the spirit, and everything was about time and change. And so what I'm exploring here is a person that she's arriving to the UK or another country for people that are traveling. So it's arriving and she wants to become into someone else and wants to people to believe her, she deserves to be there, she's becoming. But there's always something that appears that is like it's not matching. So it's also a bit of dance theater, a bit of comedy of this person trying to find her own new self. But at the end, as always, we're always changing, and you find this new in between. Because I cannot erase, right? I cannot erase Daniela. I was born in Chile. I will never, I will never be, not even close to British. And that's amazing. I love British people, but I'm not, even now you can listen the way I speak, the way I move. It tells my story, my heritage that is in me. But also, I'm a completely different Daniela from 2020. So, yeah, I started to explore that narrative of this person struggling in this new kind of like, I want to become someone. And we all have that dream because we are always like, you need to be someone, you need to win this amount of money, you need to be as successful, you need to be in every show, and you get like, how do I do it? What do I need to do? So we start to delete ourselves and the way we are changing to try to become.
Absolutely. And you should be proud of yourself and your heritage and change nothing, because that's what makes the world beautiful. And yeah, we don't want everybody being British. Sorry.
Yes, and sometimes we are our own like judges. You enter to a place, you just feel weird, and instead of like, yeah, let's see why, let's explore this. We are like, how do I change this?
And so this is where the name came from, tearing through time. It's this person literally tearing through themselves, time.
Fighting against the past, fighting against the future, and it's like, but you are in the present. The present is the real, but we are always trying to fight our past and our future, and that's why there's like this cliche word, like this sentence, that we are not in the present, but it's so true.
And why, again, do you think people should go see it?
I think actually I started to talk with my sister when I was in Chile, and we were talking, and she moved from Chile to Honduras, and she was also like saying like how different she feels right now. She feels a bit weird to be in Chile, but also we were talking about our dreams, like why you are in Honduras, why are here in the UK and everything. And sometimes we beat everyone in life. We put so much expectations on us, and we don't realize we have the answers in front of us. We are what we are, and that's amazing. And the struggle is part of it, and sometimes you can laugh and you can enjoy with it. So yeah, I think this kind of the becoming someone in life, like we were all teach, no matter where were you from, we were all teach to become someone when you are ready. That's the funny thing, you're already someone. So I think in a sense we can all have, if you want to go to a show and hug yourself, all of your struggles and everything, and just also move together, but have a laugh as well. Sometimes we take so many things seriously, and the answer is just like there in the present, and it's so like I remember once, and I was like very very young, I was like I was editing a magazine, and I have to give this magazine the next day, and seriously everything got like deleted or something like that. I don't know what happened. I started to have a heart attack, like, because I saw the future. I immediately saw the future. Screw the magazine. I'm not gonna be able to send it wherever. And then my mom, she was there. Thanks to my mom, she gave me warm milk, and then my sister just pressed a button, and the magazine was there. So it's like This is like a stupid example. But the thing is that when you breathe and you have like a nice warm milk, you can see everything with clarity, you know? But today, and I think especially today in this kind of like world that we are like all the time like this, and we are like disconnected from what is happening, the struggles become bigger and bigger and bigger. Especially like now I was watching news TV, it's like, oh my god, like you just feel so much, you feel overwhelmed. So this show is like kind of like laugh about our struggles, also hug them, because they are also part of what we are, and they are absolutely truthful, and you shouldn't be like dismissing or anything. But
It's a
also
glass
like
of
move.
warm milk.
Exactly, it's a glass of warm milk, but sometimes the milk can shake in this show, it will shake.
It becomes a milkshake. I think you're completely right. I think we need now more than ever the arts and theater, because the world is, as you say, on the edge, very unsteady. Thank you so much, Daniela, and yeah, please get your tickets for the Station of Echoes Fluid Tracks on the 12th and 13th of February in Dublin town, and Tearing Through Time on the 27th and 28th of February. Woohoo! In Dublin town. Thank you so much again, Daniela, and we can't wait to see what you do next.